Hello and welcome back to the Bundesliga Show, the obviously the Monday night edition, the review of match week 13. As you can see, I'm joined by the fantastic Vicey over in Karlsruhe. How are you doing today, Peter?
Well, I'm doing just great now that I get the pleasure of spending an hour with you. You know that, my good friend.
Yeah, that is true.
Friend.
Yeah, that is true. So yeah, let's just remind you guys that we are sponsored by Bully News as well, and Bundesliga Boxes too, as well as Covert Football Trips as well. Rich's fantastic company over there in Norwich will take you jet setting to the the football destinations of your dreams all over the world, especially in Europe, Germany, Italy, and the like. So get your trips booked with Rich as well. So yeah, Peter, I mean, what a weekend. We've had an absolutely brilliant weekend in store, haven't we? A lot of Sud derbies, we've had Nord derbies, we've had Franken derbies as well. We've had just about everything this weekend. So I'm going to let you kick us off, Peter. I know you love this part of the show, so let's kick us off with Kiosk.
Yes. Well, how did you like your Franken derby? It sounds like a breakfast cereal, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah. It is funny how Germans say derby as well, because I guess they took that word from the English, but the English say derby, And I always say to people like derby, and they're like, what, derby? And it's like derby, okay, yeah. So it is a bit of a kind of mistranslation in many ways. But yeah, the Franken derby was a hell of an occasion, some fantastic choreo and everything over there. Yeah, obviously the game was a good match. Most Nuremberg fans were hoping that they would win the match, obviously, in the derby this weekend, but it wasn't to be. The Kleeblatt fought back twice from being behind and got a deserved point and could even have won it in the end, really. But yeah, as with a lot of derbies this weekend, Peter, it was another fantastic match, wasn't it? So, yeah.
It is. And we'll talk about derbies, whichever you like, after we do a little kiosk club. I see that there is a screen to the left. Is that representing what we are on a smartphone, perhaps? Or
yeah, it is. It's a kind of StreamYard update, actually. Oh. Yeah, it's like they've let us have both sides now. We've got horizontal and vertical nowadays.
Oh,
so, yeah,
great. Fantastic.
We're going up in the world. Yeah.
I'll do my best to hold these papers up properly. But in any event, we're going to get to all the exciting things on the world's best footballing beat in the Bundesliga. There's so much to talk about. There's all sorts of things that we can talk about. And when Mark and I get together, we like to talk about all of it. However, first, we are going to vomit because, Mark, you saw this travesty, did you? You saw this.
I did. Yeah. I did. Yeah. I was thinking about you, Peter, that you weren't going to be.
Jesus, this makes me so mad. I cannot believe this. The football, the great global unifier, the largest, the one true religion, what our largest collective experience as human beings, as a species, reduced to Donald Trump getting stroked by Giovanni Infantino. I cannot believe this. I have saved several of these things. Look at this smug fucktard right here. I cannot stand him. I even have another one here because I want everybody to be aware of, that this is only the beginning. Okay. This man and this ego will try to hijack the entire tournament, which is why, before the Euros in Germany, I was encouraging everybody to come to Germany. I encourage everybody to come to America with their flags and banners as well and humble this vile creature. So, in order to wipe the foul taste of this absolute travesty, this farce that was going on with FIFA, I cannot believe this. It It was the Loretta Lynch and the Obama Justice Department that exposed the corruption in FIFA, got rid of Sepp Blatter, and we've come full circle with this stuff. But enough of that. We're not going to speak about that anymore. Instead, we're going to get you over to a principled footballing beat with loyal and devoted and civically engaged fans who know something about football. This clown knows nothing about anything other than himself. So, speaking of derbies, how about that NORD derby? That is the Hanseatic city-state derby, and it is the Hamburger Hackenhammer. This is paying reference to Luka Vusković's incredible goal, and there's so much to talk about with that derby. That was just incredible. The choreos, the pyro, the game itself, all of the storylines that it produced. And there's also the Frankfurt Krise. They have actually fired one of their medical staff members. Not quite exactly what Mark may be hoping for his famed tosser. You know, talking about that, but we'll see. I saved the kicker from last week just to give us some more talking points. I mean, of course, we also have the talking point of the IMK protests that were directed at the ministerial conference that took place that week. If you want to talk about that and what the result of that is, we can. We do have some two very successful trainers here in the Bundesliga at the moment with Lukas Kwasniok and Eugen Polanski. There's also the sackings, the wave of sackings. We've lost a lot of character in the Bundesliga this past week with our friend Graf Wagner and also Bo Henriksen. I opted not to get a haircut prior to this podcast because I want to pay homage to Bo Henriksen. So I am absolutely doing that. And okay, so the World Cup draw was obviously big news, and you know we can talk about how the German national team may look. There's a lot going on in the Bundesliga this weekend, so I don't know that we'll get to that. I don't know if this is going to be shown to scale exactly, but Kicker is leading with a picture of Nick Voltemade and Leonard Carl. That is a 2-meter tall man next to a 5'7" kid. I guess it's just not going to translate on the screen here, but I thought this was hilarious. And they are, of course, die zwei riesige Typen, the two big personalities, and that they are. Mark, guide us to the conversation. I'm happy to talk about whatever you would like.
Yeah, I mean, what a weekend, as you say. I mean, the World Cup draw, which was just about the whole world had their eyes on that, didn't they? And I don't know quite what most people thought about that one in truth, but it definitely got Germany talking this morning. Yeah, so let's have a look. We got Ballum joining us again. Great to see you again. German football team related tomorrow. I'm going to Fulham training ground versus Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Premier International Cup match. Okay, yeah, can't profess to having heard of that, but yeah, definitely get us some pictures and send them our way as well.
Yeah, that must be the reserve. Is it the reserve teams? Maybe.
I guess it could be. Yeah. I guess it could be.
Cool.
Yeah, let us know about that. Let us know. Yeah, and also to Dinesh as well. Hi, checking in to you as well. Welcome to the show. So yeah, we are going to start with that game you just mentioned, Peter. We're going to start with the NORD derby, or derby, as the English people would say, the HSV 3, Bremen 2 game. I mean, this one definitely didn't disappoint. Obviously, kicking off minutes after the Franken derby finished, and this one absolutely wasn't a disappointment at all, was it? It was a hell of a match. Obviously, some of the pyro and the choreo as well from both teams. We've got to, obviously, as massive fans of the German atmosphere in general, Peter, we've got to mention that, haven't we? Absolutely magnificent pyro from the HSV. They started off with a brilliant choreo as well. And just before the second half, they had one of the biggest pyro displays of the season so far, which was brilliant to see. Bremen retaliated as well with a pretty cool choreo and pyro display as well. So yeah, I wish we were there, Peter, for that one. I really do. It looked amazing on the TV. It really did. But the game also didn't disappoint, did it? It was a hell of a match between the two sides. Obviously, Jens Stage with yet another goal kicking us off. I mean, what has happened to him this last 18 months or so? I mean, the guy just can't stop scoring, can he? With a nice finish on the stroke of half time. But it was really in the second half when the game kicked off, wasn't it? Obviously, Lakonga got the equaliser with a nice finish just about 10 minutes into the half, which was delayed, by the way, courtesy of that pyro display. And then it was obviously the goal of the game, really, Vuskovic, wasn't it, with that incredible back heel strike. He's turned into a bit of a cult hero, the central defender on loan from Tottenham, hadn't he? Only 18 years old, and he's had a brilliant breakout season this year, the big centre back. Then obviously Justin and Schimmer equalised through a nice move before the legend, the Bundesliga legend himself, fittingly, Josip Poulsen, finished off another nice move really to win the game for the HSV and send the home side into absolute raptures. Looked like incredible scenes there in front of the Ultras when Poulsen put that goal in the back of the net. I mean, Peter, tell us, what did you make of this one? It definitely didn't disappoint, did it?
Well, it's just a fabulous advert for German football, and I hope that the pyro and the choreos, that's all part of the show. That's all part of the game. And what was so controversial, the reason we had these atmosphere boycotts over the last few weeks is because the Innenministerienkonferenz, the Interior Ministers' Conference, wanted to create a national stadium commission to enforce more stricter security protocols on a federal level, which is something that Germans are obviously quite averse to. The ultimate outcome of that is that they did establish this damn stadium commission, but they assured everyone that there would be no federal enforcement, that it would still be coordinated on a local level. The ultras, not only in the protests, also in some of the data that they supplied on this issue, I think is highly relevant and very important. For example, do you know that it is a hard fact that it is statistically proven that you are more likely to be injured outside the stadium in clashes with police than you are inside the stadium with pyrotechnics? So very, very important. Pyrotechnic belongs to German football so long as it is safely coordinated. And in most cases, it is. They practice these things. They go over it over the course of the entire week. That's what makes it so beautiful. Back-to-back wins for HSV at the Volksparkstadion there. That is incredibly huge, as Ballum was mentioning there in the comment feed. They need to make that stadium a fortress. They have done so. There's been, I think, a very, very interesting variety of actors that have been used. Dompe was, of course, back. I think he's one of the more underrated players here on that team. Philippe has, oh no, damn. The cat has jumped on the keyboard, and
there you go. Yeah.
You can always add music to the pod if you like, but not with this furry thing as a DJ. In any case, you mentioned huge goal for Vuskovic, his elder brother Mario was the one who was banned for steroids. And Vuskovic has been given his brother's tricot number. He is already a cult hero with the club. The club has always stood in solidarity with Mario. Albert Sambi Lokonga, Arsenal reject. I admit that I'm falling in love, particularly after that finish. I hope you feel the same way. I think that he is. Yeah, he has really cemented himself in that midfield. And Capaldo, who was formerly the midfielder, has done really well in the back three. In this case. Also, Daniel Hoyer Fernandez, veteran journeyman keeper there, who is still keeping Daniel Peretz on the bench. He made an immense save, I believe it was on Schmid, that prevented Bremen from running away with the game 2-0. And for Poulsen, what can you say? It's an absolute storybook. That is officially his first goal for HSV. He was really, really touched by the celebrations that he shared with the ultras beforehand. Also, something I neglected to mention, the bus pulled into the stadium there at the Volksparkstadion. And this happened in St. Pauli last year, too. The fans were there to greet the bus. They had a little extra choreo display for them there. And so they opted to park the bus and walk the last few meters to the stadium with the fans. So that's happened now in Hamburg with both Hamburg clubs twice this year. And does that happen in England at all? That I know that, I mean, it used to be the case that really hard English trainers used to make their players walk the last mile.
I think it's more like the players do it than the fans in England, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, you've still got a lot of like real old school managers in England. You know, they are kind of a dying breed, unfortunately, with the characters going out of the game. But it is true, yeah. It's the kind of thing that a Nigel Clough or someone like that would have had the players doing, like walking, especially if they lose the game and have had them walking home. I think walking the last bit, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it really was a hell of a game. It gave me the feel of like a proper old school derby. This one, just the whole thing, really. You know, the build up to the match, like you saw on social media, like some of the Bremen fans, they also did a fan march up to the stadium as well. It looked incredible, like some of the chants and stuff they were getting going. It was just brilliant. Yeah, it was so old school. It was the first time we've seen this fixture in 8 years as well. Let's not forget, in the Bundesliga. Anyway, we did see it 1 year in the Zweite Liga when obviously Werder were relegated to join Hamburg. But yeah, this is the first time we've seen it where it belongs in the top flight for a good number of years, in 8-9 years. So it was great to see it back. It just feels, I don't know if you feel the same, Peter, it feels great to have a lot of these proper, like real Bundesliga fixtures back this season. I feel as though Köln and Hamburg's promotion has just made so much of a difference in the number of big fixtures we've got this season. Obviously, we've got the Rhine derby back with Gladbach and Köln. Then we've had the NORD derby. We've had the City derby with Pauli and Hamburg as well. Obviously, other big games as well, because, I mean, Hamburg and Köln take huge followings everywhere they go. It's a sellout every single week, even in the Zweite Liga as well, isn't it? So, yeah, it's definitely been good. I mean, maybe this year we could even get Schalke and FCK back. Who knows? But I think for FCK, it's a big ask, truth be told. But Schalke definitely seem on the way back as things stand. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, as for Werder, I didn't think they played badly, to be honest with you. I think it was a game where both teams played pretty well, truth be told. I think both had a good game plan. We have both criticized Steffen, haven't we, a little bit on this pod, but I actually felt as though that was one of their better performances of the season, to be honest with you, and they will be disappointed to lose. I've got to say that there was a penalty issue at the end. I thought they were a little bit unlucky not to get a penalty for that handball situation in the 90th minute as well. It hit both of his hands, didn't it? It's like, come on, how much more do you need to give a penalty? But in many ways, it was a game that deserved a winner. So I'm kind of glad they didn't give it in the end, because it was a game that deserved a winner. It kind of makes it more of a legendary match, I guess, with the 3-2 win. Anything to be worried about for Werder, Peter? Obviously, they're not pulling up any trees, but I felt as though they played okay in this game.
Yeah, they were fine. I mean, this was actually, we were talking last week about how Schmid, or was it the week before, how Schmid said that they had played very well, and I think it was the Leipzig loss.
Yeah.
This was an instance in which Schmid was at his best and was not to score, I think. And, I continue to be impressed with Marco Friedel's work at left back. I always thought he was a good captain. And Karim Koulibaly is one of those German prospects that the Germans are very, very excited about. I wonder where he's going to go after this season if Bremen can't keep him. He's only 18 years old, but he's had his estimated market value topped up to, it keeps increasing around like 15 million. So he's been a really welcome breath of fresh air as well. I mean, with Bremen, they still don't have a reliable striker. I mean, that was an excellent goal from Njinma, an excellent touch and finish. But he's more of a speedster than he is a classic center forward. KK Top is still Victor Boniface and has still not scored a goal. But they don't need a striker when they have Jens All the World's a stage, who, as you mentioned, cannot stop scoring.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. So yeah, fantastic way to kick off the show with that brilliant Nord derby this weekend. So let's move on to the Topspiel now, the Saturday evening Topspiel, and that was a crazy game. I mean, it made me remember, Peter, we were there around about this time last year for this same fixture as well, but that game was a much more competitive fixture between these two sides. Obviously, it was also won by Leipzig, but I mean, what can you say, Peter? I mean, this was just a complete blowout, as they would say. It really was. The rout started after just a few minutes, really, didn't it? When that man Harder, who basically has had a nightmare since joining the club, truth be told. I think you slated him last time we were on the pod, and rightly so, truth be told. But he actually got the opener in this one with a well-taken header. Although I don't know what Zetterer was doing, truth be told. I mean, it kind of sums up his goalkeeping performance since he joined the club in many ways. Really poor goalkeeping, just flying out of his net, leaving it unguarded for Harder to head home his opening goal of his Leipzig career. Harder also turned supplier for the second one as well, with a really good piece of play, squaring, taking on the fullback, even though I've got to be honest, Namdi Collins is not having a good season at all. He was woeful. It was a dreadful piece of defending, really, from Thiat and Namdi Collins, who just basically both got skinned by Harder. And then Baumgartner scored his third goal in a week as well, after getting a double against Magdeburg in the Pokal. So he's had a great goal-scoring season as well so far, hasn't he? The second half was much of the same, more dreadful defending from Collins and Thiat, leading to Diomande banging in the first of what was to be a hat-trick as well in the game. Then Diomande scored a second, didn't he, with a really nice strike. It was probably the goal of the game, truth be told. Then we had a David Raum penalty. It just kept getting worse. And this was all round about the hour mark, by the way. They were already 5-0 down, even 6-0 by 65 minutes in this game. David Raum comfortably scored the penalty. And then obviously Diomande rounded the hapless Zetterer, who was absolutely woeful, like the entire Frankfurt team, truth be told, in this one. For his hat-trick. It wasn't quite a Lupenreiner. We do love a Lupenreiner on this channel. Even though all of the goals were in the same half, he can thank teammate David Raum for not letting him have that penalty, really. A little bit selfish maybe from Raum, not letting him take that penalty, which would have been a Lupenreiner. We get a lot of them, don't we? I mean, you'd think it'd be really rare that you would get a Lupenreiner, considering how specific the rules have to be, obviously, with all the goals in the same half and back-to-back. But, I mean, we do get a few of them, don't we? I think last season we had 3. I think this season we've already had a Harry Kane one. And we came close to a couple, actually, this weekend as well. Diomande a little bit unlucky not to get a Lupenreiner, but still he got his hat-trick. One of the kind of budding talents of the Bundesliga at the minute, isn't he? What a player he looks like, Peter, and what a performance overall from the Red Bulls in this game.
Yes, agreed. Little interesting fact, Diomande is the second youngest player to record a hat-trick in the Bundesliga. That the youngest distinction belongs to, I believe it's Burkhardt or something, 1965, far before my time in any case. Diomande is an incredibly exciting prospect and a friendly reminder to everyone that you can scout him out in the Africa Cup of Nations, which is early this year. Christmas comes early this year. The AFCON is actually set to begin on December 21st. So actually a little over a week away. Leipzig, Baumgartner, obviously, for me, was the man of the match. He did get 2 assists, so 3 scorer points for him as well. And he plays directly behind Diomande in this 4-1-4-1 with our boy Nicholas Seiwald, the former Leonard Carl, youth lookalike, pulling the strings midfield as a solo 6. That was a fine finish from Harder. Although I mentioned before that the man has a perfectly rectangular head, so
slabhead, they can call him slabhead. I think, yeah.
Indeed. This Eintracht, I don't know if you want to call it a travesty necessarily. I mean, you have injury problems, obviously. Jonathan Burkhardt is out. Kanuzun is on the way back. He did dress for this match. but they don't have a striker. Elie Wahi, whom I think I predicted that he was going to have a good season based on his training camp. Well, Topmüller is not even interested in dressing him. He does not make the matchday squad. That's how you got Michy Batshuayi spearheading the attack, who is also injured now, by the way. So I don't know who starts as striker next week. I think it's going to be Ngankam, our good old friend Ngankam. Yeah. Blast from the past. Hell yeah.
Yesik. Jeez. Last time I saw him, I think he was on loan at Hanover or something. But he's been on loan all over the Bundesrepublik, I think, over the last few years. He was
on loan with Fürth for a while. The former Hertha man he was. Quite a story. But he's back from injury after a couple of years, I believe. This is what Topmüller is doing, and I think this has been something of a recurring theme on this pod, that particularly when I'm doing the prediction show, I always say Topmüller is going to do something stupid. Topmüller is going to do something stupid. Topmüller is going to do something stupid tactically. And in this case, he did something profoundly stupid, which was come up with a 3-4-3. I mean, as bad, Frankfurt's defending has been terrible all season long. Koch, my Kaiserslautern buddy, the captain, has been in terrible form. Collins, since that ill-fated call up to the German national team in September, his confidence is just shot to bits. So why are you forming a back three of Theater, Koch, and Collins? And why is Dahoud still in the midfield? Okay, I was ecstatic that Dahoud made a comeback. I wrote a whole piece on him and everything. I thought this was so wonderful, but the problem is that Mo Dahoud is usually good for one match and that's it. And that was the last autumn, and that's the case this one. I don't know if it's a fitness issue or the fact that he only features once a season and then goes into hibernation for the rest of the season, so he has time to figure out his moves. I mean, this was just you have these injury problems. Without Burkhardt and without Uzun, it's a different team. But what are you doing with a 3-4-3? This is silly against one of the best offensive teams in the league. You can't. I mean, you should have at least put in a 5-4-1. I mean, that's what I would have done. And whenever I find myself out tacticking Bundesliga trainers, it puts me in a very depressed mood, because I shouldn't be smarter than these guys when it comes to this stuff. And I mean, it pisses me off with Julian Nagelsmann to no end, because not only does he not seem to understand tactics sometimes, but he's younger than me. So it's kind of, you're just like, what the hell? But this was, I don't know, this was so profoundly stupid from Topmüller. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, you could have easily built a 5-4-1 in this case, and that's precisely the kind of tactical formation that you need to roll against the Leipzig 4-1-4-1. It's just basic stuff. It's
and obviously Frankfurt's season is really starting to unravel now. It continues to unravel after a really strong start. And another interesting stat that I pulled up from this match is that Frankfurt now have statistically the worst defense in the whole league. They've conceded 29 goals, which is even more than Heidenheim with 28 and Augsburg with 27 as well. So
I was doing a piece on on Augsburg, on Sandro Wagner, obviously, and I was certain that Augsburg had conceded the most goals in the league, but then I looked and it was Frankfurt. I'm like, what?
Unbelievable. Yeah. And obviously Leipzig as well, 6-0 has been their scoreline this season. They beat Augsburg 6-0. Now they've beaten Frankfurt 6-0. And let's not forget, they opened the season with a 6-0 loss against Bayern as well. So I don't think there are many teams in the world that have had 3 out of the first 13 league games as 6-0 results. 2 obviously for them and 1 against. But yeah, Leipzig definitely going in the right direction. Sadly, Frankfurt and Topmüller not going in the right direction right now. So while we're on the topic of derbies, we might as well go to the Süd derby. I mean, it can be very often as well in a season where the Nord and Süd derby both happen in the same weekend, right? And this was obviously the case this weekend. The Germany's 2 biggest southern clubs, you would argue, although Nuremberg and Kaiserslautern might disagree with that one as well, possibly. But this is the one that is officially known as the Süd derby, although Yeah, some people would argue it's not the biggest rivalry, I guess, within Germany. Bavaria versus Baden-Württemberg, you would say. But anyway, the game was not much of a contest at all, was it? It really wasn't. Similar to the Leipzig-Frankfurt one, there was only really one team in it for most of the game. Konrad Laimer with a really, really good link-up play along with Michael Elise opening the scoreline. Obviously, Konrad Laimer is now considered one of the best fullbacks in the division. You know, he's had an incredible kind of turnaround from good midfielder to excellent fullback, really, hasn't he? I would say that's how his career has gone. There was actually a disallowed goal as well. Let's not forget that. Stuttgart had the ball in the back of the net, but I don't know why it took so long to check it, because it was very clearly offside, this one, to be honest. I think Dennis Under was kind of very keen to get the go-ahead that this one was a goal. He was really pushing for that one, but no, not this weekend, my friend. Then, I mean, what can you say? Surprisingly, somewhat, Bayern actually made a few changes for this game, obviously after a big Pokal midweek, and what was also a crazy game against Union Berlin as well. Then obviously Champions League this midweek, and Harry Kane, you know, Mr. Fantastic, came off the bench at half-time, and we talked before about Lupenreiner hat-tricks. He almost got one as well, didn't he? With yet another hat-trick. It's just getting ridiculous now. His third Bundesliga hat-trick of the season off the bench in this case. And for me, he was the difference maker in this game again. I felt as though Stuttgart gave a decent effort for the first 60 minutes or so, but by the end, it ended up being a battering, really, didn't it? Unfortunately, Alexander Nubel didn't really do himself very much justice in this game. I felt as though the first Kane goal was very central, really, to be honest. The German commentary said it was a great strike and it gave Nubel no chance, but I don't know. I always think if it's quite central like that, you should do a little bit better. But obviously, the next goal was a catastrophe for the German goalkeeper, completely messing up the strike, didn't he? I could see you, Peter. You were always going to be furious about that one. The Stanisic strike was just an absolute catastrophe of a goalkeeping mistake. That killed the game, basically. Assignon as well, with some dreadful defending on the line. He should have been able to get a body part that wasn't his hand on that ball, to be honest. It was hit pretty much straight at him, but he kind of got his hands all mixed up and things, and he ends up basically elbowing the ball away, saying, "Oh, not me, you know." But obviously the referee pulled out the red card. That was the end of him, and that was obviously the end of Stuttgart completely, as Kane finished off his penalty as he always does, and then completed his hat-trick in the 88th minute as well. Peter, I didn't really feel as though there was that much to say about this one. It was a relatively standard Bayern win, wasn't it? I think Stuttgart gave a good effort for the first 60 minutes, but for me, Harry Kane was the difference maker in this one, really, in the end.
Well, I have a few things to say. First and foremost, since you brought up Nübel, I pulled up the thing in the kicker. It's alles übel for Nübel. What Nübel means is, like, you know, grotesque. Yeah, this was a horrible game from Nübel. This was insult to injury. Not only did they brought in Jonas Urberg, who was the man who stole his rightful place as Manuel Neuer's successor. Yeah, it was an atrocious game from him. Actually, I found I was watching this, you know, from a Stuttgart perspective. I tried to sort of analyze what went wrong with Stuttgart, and I found a lot of positives. I really found as if the passes per defensive actions and things like that, there was a lot of solid play from Stuttgart in this. There were really some solid phases. And you mentioned the disallowed goal from Narty. I think he had a wonderful match. I think that the Dane, who is not featured at all for this, who was widely regarded as a bust, had an excellent match. And the way that Kemma pulled the strings there in midfield, there were some really positive attack charges. And I think that there were good combinations and good cycles out of the back at times. It just all fell apart for them once super sub Harry Kane came off the bench. When I learned that he scored these 3 goals off the bench, I thought to myself, well, is Harry Kane now officially the best super sub in the league, because the the league is only 13 match days old. And how many players have scored 3 goals off the bench? I was very, very surprised to learn that distinction actually belongs to Heidenheim's Stefan Schimmer.
Yeah.
Everyone bow to Stefan Schimmer. And I found myself compelled to write a piece about him, because Stefan Schimmer, the 31-year-old, who wasn't even starting for Heidenheim in the Zweite Liga, is now the leading super sub in the Bundesliga with 4 goals off the bench, and he scored the match winner for Heidenheim in the last 2 matches. So I thought to myself, where the hell did this guy come from? And I did some research and everything. He was a weekend warrior for FC Gundelfingen. I know that Rory's a huge FC Gundelfingen fan. He's just diehard Gundelfingen all the way. So I had to get that in there. Gundelfingen. Where the hell is Gundelfingen? Gundelfingen is a Bavarian Swabian town, not far from Heidenheim, not far from Ulm, right there along the Bavarian border, where you and I are often straddling as we as we meet one another. But anyway,
we'll have to visit that one for Ballum, I think. Yeah, if Ballum's still watching, we'll have to go there and check that one out.
We love our fans. We went to Wilting. We went to Wilting twice for Ballum.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
For a game that got.
I'm sure they probably don't even have a Regionalliga team, though. I guess it's like Kreisliga or something like that.
Okay, well, we're going to Gundelfingen. Stefan Schimmer was, he had no formal academy training. He was, he was just a weekend warrior there, and then he scored a lot of goals for Gundelfingen, I think at the age of 23, 24. Then he got picked up by Memmingen. Then he moved over to our EMAG Hocking Spielvereinigung there. And then finally got picked up from Heidenheim. So there hasn't been a nowhere town in the Bavarian Bavü border that you and I have probably stopped at. Where this
some gas station or something like that.
Where this guy got stopped.
Yeah.
That was I mean, congratulations to Harry Kane, obviously. Congratulations to Nicolas Narti, and congratulations to Alexander Nümmel for throwing up on himself in a big game. So I'm not trying to ignore Stuttgart Bayern, but I just had to get Stefan Schimmer in there somehow. He is this year's Phil Harris.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. And actually, that nicely segs us onto the next game I wanted to talk about. It was the FCH, actually, against Freiburg. I mean, what can you say? I mean, it seems every year when December comes, Heidenheim, it must be that song that they have, to the Jingle Bells, I think, that comes out, that Fußball Club Heidenheim, na, 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 na. Fußball Club Heidenheim, na, 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 na. Hey, I think it's the Jingle Bells theme tune that brings it out of them every year. And then how did they change it? They changed it when they stayed up as well. Was it via blah?
Heidenheim,
that was when they stayed up at Darmstadt that they changed.
Precisely, our first trip to Darmstadt. Yes.
Yeah, it was. But it must be that song that brings it out of Heidenheim, because I mean that's 2 wins now. This, the festive period, you could say, the Christmas markets period in Germany. And it is all thanks to that man. It's Mr. Schimmer, isn't it? What can you say? I mean, what a crazy game this was. Obviously, a really nice strike from Manzambi, who, is really becoming a top-level performer on a consistent basis. Now, a really nice strike from him, looping over the goalkeeper, Ramage, into the back of the net. But then Heidenheim, once again, they staged a late show, didn't they? Which they did exactly the same against Union Berlin last week. And obviously, in this case, it was the equalised on the hour thanks to Patrick Meinke, who I'm pretty sure hasn't missed a game for Heidenheim. He seems to be rolled out every single week for them. And let's be honest, he's had a lot of dark afternoons since they became a Bundesliga team, particularly in the last 18 months. But this was a good moment for the big man at the back, who leveled up thanks to a really good ball in as well from Ibrahimovic, I believe, off the bench also, by the way. And then it was just an awful mistake, wasn't it, that led to the winner in this game. I think it was Rosenfelder, was it, who basically sold his goalkeeper an absolute hell of a back pass short. And obviously that man Schimmer, like a seasoned striker, you know, almost like Ronaldo El Phenomenal-esque, like kept his cool to sidestep Atabolu and comfortably finish for yet another joker goal, as they say in German. The joker as the super sub, and send the home team and, you know, Frankie Schmidt into raptures, wasn't it? Who would have thought it, Peter? Back-to-back wins for the FCH.
Oh, are you there? Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, it's I actually don't think Freiburg played very badly. I mean, it all came down to that late. I mean, there were both Lienhardt and Rosenfelder, who was subbed on for Lienhardt at the half, played very badly. So they were the worst Freiburg players. But other than that, I mean, they played okay. I mean, they were all right. I think that. I mean, they might have been. They did have the cup tie midweek, and that was a sort of exhausting affair in Darmstadt, as you know, as you and I have been. It can be a grueling affair. So they didn't play all that poorly. I mean, I'm running out of things to say about Johan Manzambi. I mean, I've called him a top player and a top prospect, and I've sung his praises all of this time. I mean, it's just what more do you want me to say about the man? He's definitely top notch, and he's going to be the next. He's going to be. I can't wait to see him for the Swiss national team at the World Cup. But yeah, I think I've exhausted my Heidenheim talking points, really, because I don't know what else to tell you.
I mean, we got to give the guys credit. I mean, you know, the likes of Thomas Keller is playing out of his mind at the moment. Even Honzak caused a few problems in the first half, didn't he? It just seems crazy that this team is winning games at this level, really. And we've got to give some credit to them, because it is hard for a team that are severely limited in terms of quality. We all know that. Obviously Kaufmann got injured as well, didn't he? He was the one that looked like the biggest prospect early season, and they've gone with Honzak and Pieringer as the front two, and they're still getting results. I think Bush, it was actually Bush, sorry, my mistake. He put the ball in for the first assist, and that was a hell of an assist as well for Mainka. We've just got to give credit to them, really, because it's not easy for a team that limited, to keep winning games. And now all of a sudden, can they stay up a third year in a row? Who knows? And I mean, obviously they go away to St. Pauli next week. I mean, that is a huge game. If they can win that one, then they're going to be looking quite okay at Christmas, actually, considering the extremely low expectations coming into the season. I can't ever remember a team that had lower expectations coming into a season, to be honest, because obviously nobody could understand how they stayed up last year, and then they basically didn't add really any quality. Just two loanees. It was just Ramaj and Ibrahimovic, wasn't it, who they added on loan. And yeah, I mean, who needs top quality when you got Schimmer on the pitch? It's you got a true super sub, and congratulations really to the FCH and Frankie Schmidt. And if they can go and win at Pauli next week, who knows? As I say, the miracles can happen, and if they stay up this year, it would be a true miracle as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, let's move on to a game that's close to my heart, and I really wanted to talk about this one, Peter, to be honest. Obviously, as a guy who's suffered a lot for the FCA this season and was killing myself over the Sandro Wagner era, and to see this result come in, the first game after Sandro is removed, I mean, it just brought a little tear to my eye on Saturday afternoon, to be honest with you. It was a beautiful moment for all FCA fans, Peter. What can you say? Manu Baum, the Messiah, maybe?
Well, to see Manuel Baum back working a Bundesliga touchline, I mean, that is something. As you may recall, Manuel Baum, I mean, he was a longtime Augsburg trainer. But he was one of the 5 trainers in that horrendous year for Schalke, the relegation season. He was the second one in the line of 5. David Wagner was sacked on match day 2. They brought in Manuel Baum. This was Schalke's darkest season. It also happened during the course of the pandemic. Baum, I think, did not win he did not win a single game. He was there from September to December. And I was covering the league extensively for my Tactics Talk column at that time. And I was watching all of these Schalke matches. Poor Manuel Baum and these empty stadiums just could not get anything going for Schalke. That was, of course, the year that Mark Uth got knocked unconscious and had to go to the hospital. And the next week he said he was playing on loan from Köln that year. And he wanted to go in the locker room and cry. Yeah. And when Manuel Baum was fired after not winning a single game for Schalke, I never thought we would see him working in Bundesliga ever again. And so what happened is that he took 3 years off. Nobody wanted to hire him. He eventually went on to run the academy for Leipzig, and they fired him because he did one of the poorest jobs of any academy director in the Bundesliga. And he was brought in this summer. He was brought back by Augsburg to be their academy director as part of this rebuild and rebrand, which was protested again by the fans. You recall when you and I went to Augsburg on Halloween, they had that von Grauer Maus zum Skibude, that big banner there where they were protesting this whole rebranding, not just firing Jes Torup and Marinko Jurendic, the sporting director, but also bringing in Sandro Wagner and this whole Roman Augustus Vindelicum rebranding to try and make Augsburg more sexy. And the fans, I mean, it's hard to translate that from Grauer Maus. Grauer Maus teams are teams like Bielefeld, or they're teams that are sort of, they pop up in the Bundesliga and then they abscond really quickly, like a gray mouse in the kitchen. It comes in there. And Skibude literally translates to like a shooting gallery or something. You can translate that to doormat or maybe target practice or cannon fodder maybe, or something like that. So, they protested again against this image wechsel. This whole like, oh, you're trying to make Augsburg more sexy when all we want is stability. We'll take boring football, but we want Bundesliga football. And obviously, before this happened, Manuel Baum went up to the Ultra Kurve, the Kurve that you and I know quite well, and fired them up. So not only was I surprised to see Manuel Baum on a Bundesliga touchline yet again, but he was enthusiastic and he was firing up the Augsburg Ultras. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? As soon as that happened, I thought something big might be possible. And Baum didn't make a lot of, he only made the 3 sort of personnel changes. But what he did was he stuck Fellhauer back in midfield. He gave Kade, or Cade, however you want to say it, his first go as a lead striker. And he gave Kevin Schlotterbeck the captaincy. Great weekend for both Schlotterbeck brothers, by the way. Both of them wearing the captain's armband for their respective clubs, and both of them getting their name on the score sheet. So that's wild that both Schlotterbeck brothers had the captain's armband on there. Before we get too excited, it was a total tactical myth from Kasper Hjulman, whom I don't like at all. I'm mourning so hard for Bo Henriksen. We lost the most interesting Dane in the history of Denmark, and we have probably the most boring Dane I've ever seen running Leverkusen. But he messed up in this case. I think that Hoffmann needed. He probably shouldn't have been started in this one, because Hoffmann and Andrich, in this 3-2-4-1 system that he has going on there, are not well coordinated. Andrich has only just moved back into the back 3. Hoffmann has still not got his rotation rhythms straight. But yes, something very, very, very special happened at the WWK Arena this Saturday afternoon. Namely, Augsburg won at home for just the second time this season. They also beat HSV in what would be Sandro Wagner's last home match. So everything is going sort of weird for Augsburg this season, but it seems like they're on the right track. Manuel Baum, my prediction is that he probably will be appointed permanently. Augsburg love to bring back old trainers. They brought back Marcus Weinziel at one point.
True.
So yeah, I think that he'll be appointed permanently. He's just the sort of boring guy that this club needs right now. They need to get back to boring. This whole sexy Roman gladiatorial thumbs down, decapitated in the arena. Let's get back to banking, books, and puppets. Which is what
Let's do it. And road groom vice, don't forget.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks to Left Footed for checking as well. Great to see you two on my TV on. Thanks for the compliment as well, Left Footed. And hi to Gully's World as well, Gullies.world as well. Let us know a little bit about yourself as well. Whereabouts are you from? If you're happy sharing that as well. So yeah, let's go through the best of the rest. Then we'll go through a few tips as well. I know Peter loves his midweek tips after last time as well. So yeah, let's just go through a quick run through as well of the rest of the results. So Friday night, Gladbach picked up yet another win, the fourth win in 5. That's now 13 points from the last 5 games under the brilliant Polanski, by the way. He deserves a lot of credit for what he's done. It was a deserved win, even though the goal was probably the scrappiest, ugliest, weirdest goal I've seen this season. Danny da Costa, literally Tabakovic, headed it the wrong way onto the head of da Costa, and it just kind of bundled over the net. I mean, if anything sums up Mainz 05's season, it was that goal, to be honest with you. But it was a deserved win. They missed a lot of chances through the game and should have won more comfortably, truth be known. Let's not forget as well, Mainz have just appointed Urs Fischer as well. So that's really an interesting one. I mean, for me, it's a bit of a coup for them, considering the position, rock bottom of the league with only 6 points from 13 games. We'll talk a little bit more about that probably on Thursday for the next predictions, but a little bit of a coup for Mainz there, and it definitely hots up the bottom, the relegation fight more, because you would imagine he'd be able to get a tune out of them. But as I say, we'll talk more about that in a future show when we focus more on Mainz as well. Wolfsburg as well, another team that have had a poor start to the season, but they look to be getting a bit of form since Simonis was fired. They got a comfortable 3-1 win over Union Berlin, who obviously missed a penalty through Querfeld as well. Some nice goals, I have to say as well. Wimmer got back into form with a nice strike. Amura looked much more like himself as well, who played well and scored a good goal. And obviously, a few decisions went against him the back end as well. I thought the goal probably should have been chalked off for a foul as well, the Union goal. Literally, Lovro Meyer was on the floor, and that played the whole team on side, effectively. So I think they were a little bit unlucky. But we've got to give credit to one of our friends of the show, Stanley Ensoki, as well, because, I mean, he's had a lot of criticism for us on this show. So we got his goal this Saturday afternoon, so credit to him for that. But Wolfsburg held on relatively comfortably in the end, despite the missed penalty. Probably the weirdest game of the weekend was at Köln. I mean, Köln absolutely thrashed St. Pauli in this game. They really, really did. They could have had 4 or 5. And literally, Pauli had done absolutely nothing at all the whole game. They had an XG of 0.14 by the end of the match. So I guess before that, it would have been even lower. But it had to be that man, didn't it? It was Ricky J. Jones, the guy we talked about on the, on the preview show for the season, getting his first goal as a Bundesliga player. And it was a hell of a header as well. It really was. I mean, it was the only thing Pauli did the entire afternoon, basically. But it totally stunned the Köln fans, and they'll be sick about that one. That's the kind of result that really kills you as a football fan when you dominate a match like that. Said Almala, once again, absolutely superb, scoring another goal. They had so many chances in that match. They probably have Vasiljev to thank, truth be told. But Pauli end that 9-match unbeaten losing run, I should say, which is good to see in some ways, but they were very, very lucky to get a point from Köln in this game. Then probably the only game that disappointed this weekend in what was an entertaining set of fixtures, really, I thought Dortmund-Hoffenheim. I was expecting that to be game of the weekend, to be honest, this week. I thought Hoffenheim were going to do a lot better than they did. Obviously, were previously unbeaten away from home before that game, but were easily put aside by Dortmund in a very routine 2-0 home win, thanks to goals from Julian Brandt and, as Peter said, the captain Nico Schlotterbeck. And to continue Niko Kovac's very impressive form, really, overall, let's be honest. The football isn't great to watch, but he does get wins. Let's not forget that for the BVB. So, yeah, let's move on to a few predictions to finish us off today, Peter. We've got another European midweek, haven't we? It seems like every weekend, every midweek this week is European fixtures. But, yeah, obviously teams getting tired. They'll be ready for the winter break now with Pokal fixtures, European fixtures, no international break. So let's have a look at this. So we've got an early kickoff at the Allianz Arena between Bayern Munich and Sporting Lisbon. Go on, Peter. What are you kicking off with for that one?
4-0 Bayern. I mean, he clearly rotated. Company did in preference to the Pokal, which Bayern need to win. You realize they haven't won the Pokal since 2020.
Yeah.
It's so obviously Kane was rotated out. Diaz is suspended, but that's no problem because there's Karl, Olise, and Gnabry. And Pavlovic was also rested, so he'll be in midfield with Kimmich. And you'll have probably Stanisic starting over Bischoff, I would imagine. But, I mean, it'll be Bayern's top lineup, and it'll be a 4-0 win at the Allianz. They always win at home in the Champions League when it's Christmas. Always. I don't think that's an exception.
Yeah, I also think Bayern will win, but I don't think it'll be as heavy as 4-0. Let's not forget that Sporting are the back-to-back Portuguese champions, and I think they're also roundabout near the top again this season. So, but I do think Bayern will win. I'd go for a 3-1 home win. Nice comment as well from Gully. Watching from Toronto, another World Cup city as well over there. Mm-hmm. You guys keep me company more than you know. Yeah, that's a nice comment. Yeah, so yeah, hope you're doing well over there in what I would imagine is a very, very cold Toronto at this time of year.
It's a shame Thomas Müller couldn't bring the MLS Cup to Canada. Damn.
That is true. That is true. Into Miami and Beckham get the win in the end. Yeah. But anyway, let's move on. We've got an interesting fixture. We've got Barcelona-Frankfurt. Let's not forget that Frankfurt had that famous win in the Nou Camp, didn't they, when they won the Europa League a few years ago. They won over 2 legs against Barca, which I would imagine goes down as one of Frankfurt's most famous results in history, really, there. Obviously going on to take the trophy under Oliver Glasner that year. But unfortunately for me, I don't see the same. I'm not as optimistic ahead of this one. Frankfurt are just woeful at the minute, and whenever they come up against a better team, it just seems like they get blown out of the water, to be honest with you. So I think Barcelona are going to be rubbing their hands together looking at this Frankfurt defense. So I'm sorry to be pessimistic with this one. I'm going to go for a 5-1 Barcelona win here. Peter?
Well, I think that Frankfurt will defend better, and I think I've thought this before, but I think that Topmüller will get his tactics straight and go with a 5-4-1. Of course, who do you staff? You have to do a 5-4-1. You probably have to start Amenda, which means that Brown and Christensen will work as pseudo wingbacks. Who do you start at striker? Either Ngankam or Knauf.
So imagine Jessica and Ngankam leading the line at the Nou Camp.
Well, or Knauf, who is not, exactly the tallest. He can play striker, but he's not the greatest target forward. All right, I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for Barcelona in this one. I think that they'll defend better. Unfortunately, I don't think that Frankfurt have the wherewithal to score a goal in this case.
You're a little bit more optimistic than me, but not by much in this case. Yeah. So let's move on to the Wednesday Champions League games. We've got a yellow-black derby, haven't we, between Dortmund and Bordeaux Glimt. I mean, Bordeaux, the guys from the north of of Norway, are a hell of a story in their own right, aren't they? I mean, they've come from nowhere to without money as well. Really, they've done it just on the back of local players in many cases. So they've always been a team that I've enjoyed following, but they've obviously got a difficult challenge going to the BVB this midweek. A team that always do better in the Champions League, Peter. So what are you tipping there?
Oh, I think that Dortmund can probably win this one handily. I mean, you're right; they're playing kind of ugly football at the moment, but I really liked the work of Jan Couto. I think he was excellent, and I think what he's going to do here this time is going to put Bayer at wing back again. So I think that that's good for a couple of goals, but I think it'll be interesting. I'll go 2-1 Dortmund.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a bit more comfortable, to be honest, because, Dortmund do tend to play better under the lights in Europe. I'm going to go for a 3-0 here. I think it'll be a bit too difficult for the Norwegians to compete in this one. And probably the most competitive one in the Champions League, Leverkusen-Newcastle. I mean, that is an interesting fixture. I was thinking long and hard about this one, and it's very hard to know which way to go because obviously Leverkusen have already turned over Premier League opposition this season with that famous win over Man City. But since then, they've really kind of dropped off, haven't they? Let's be honest. I mean, that meek defeat against, Augsburg isn't going to really fulfill them with confidence going into this one. But Newcastle have been on a much better run in the Premier League, unfortunately for Leverkusen. But I still feel as though Leverkusen, they'll come back out full strength in this one. I hope Grimaldo is going to be fit to start because he's absolutely key for them. Mm-hmm. That's all I can say. I would imagine he will be from what I've read. But if he starts, I think they'll get a 2-2 draw. I think it'll be a good game, this one. But Newcastle are pretty tough as well at the minute. So, Peter, what are you going for?
I did a Newcastle pod last week. I did. And some of the gentlemen from this pod, I have to catch up on my social media articles. I haven't been on social media for a couple of days. But so I did a pod, and some of the Newcastle guys are going to be in Köln. I might meet up with them because I'm driving up to North Rhine-Westphalia tomorrow. I, at the time, actually tipped a 4-1 Newcastle victory because based on the fact that if there's one formation that I don't think that Hjulmand's tactics can handle at this point, it's a 4-3-3. And particularly not an English, 4-3-3 spearheaded by Volta Messi here. I guess I'll amend that tip a little bit because I think that I think that Grimaldo was rested this weekend. That's why Hoffman was playing, and I think that he'll drop Andrich and put Kwanzaa in the back three. But I still think Newcastle win, and I still think they win 3-1 in this case.
Okay, interesting one. Yeah, that is one I'm really going to look forward to watching. I think it's an interesting match with a number of different dynamics going on. Let's move on to the Europa League. So we've got Stuttgart, Maccabi Tel Aviv. Yeah, that is an interesting fixture. Peter, go on. I'll let you lead out on this one.
Again, I thought that Stuttgart had a lot of positives that they could take from that Bayern result, and I think that they will definitely take this one 2-0.
Yeah, they've definitely improved in Europe, and this is a game they'll definitely be targeting to win quite comfortably. So I'd agree with you with a 2-0 against the Israeli side here. Freiburg, Salzburg, yeah, another one not too far between these two sides as well, I believe. So it seems as though Freiburg have drawn a lot of teams that are really nearby the border this time. Yeah. Obviously, another German-speaking derby there, which is going to be quite an interesting one. But obviously, Salzburg not the best supported team in Austria due to obviously the Red Bull connections as well. I'm going to go also for a 2-0 Freiburg here. I feel as though Freiburg are very strong in Europe. Salzburg are not the team they've been in the past. I believe this is quite a weak edition of the RB team compared to ones in the last 10 years or so. So I'll go for Freiburg to get yet another European win, 2-0 here. Peter?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And as I mentioned earlier in the pod, I thought that Freiburg played really well too. So Freiburg and Stuttgart were two teams that played very well in defeat.
Yeah. And then the final one, these Conference League matches really serve up some brilliant ties on the Lech Poznan versus Mainz 05. Yeah. The Polish side, I mean, it's going to be a very, brutal trip over there for the Mainz fans who make the trip. I know that the fans are, pretty tough, let's to say the least, over there in Poznan. So go on, Peter, what are you tipping there?
I'm not tipping a strong debut for Urs Fischer. You want to save that conversation for a later pod. I mean, the problem is that Fischer, God, his track record is incredible, but let's not forget how boring football. I mean, how much boring football Union supplied us with in those years. I think he'll get a draw out of this. I'll tip 1-1.
Yeah, it's very hard to tip. I'm afraid I'm going to be a doomer here. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Poznan. I just don't see anything in attack from this Mainz side at the minute, and they really have problems. And I think if they are going to start climbing the table, they're going to have to do it with really scrappy 1-0s, to be honest with you, because they don't seem to have anything up top. Right?
Well, they got, I mean, Hollebach and Viper and Sieb, these are all talented players. I mean, why they're not clicking, yeah. I don't know. I mean, Henriksen obviously did something wrong, but I don't know if Fischer knows how to do something right away. The guy's got 4 fixtures before the Winterpause. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they got Bayern in the league. That's the problem. So, I mean, yeah, they're going to have to get something out of this to get some positive momentum going forward, because the Europa League, the Conference League has given them some positivity, but obviously they were turned over by that Romanian team last time. So, I mean, when it rains, it pours, really, doesn't it? And that's definitely what it's doing in Rhineland-Pfalz at the moment, unfortunately, for
That is not the real Pfalz, Mark. That is not the real Pfalz.
The Rhine-Hessen, I'll let you off. The Rhine-Hessen. Yeah. Anyway, guys, yeah, it's been a pleasure again. Just to close off tonight, don't forget that we're not only a podcast, we're not only a YouTube channel nowadays, we are also a podcast as well. So don't forget to follow us on Spotify and Apple. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed what you saw. We saw a few new people checking in on the comments as well tonight, so don't forget to follow us as well. And also don't forget that we are on social media too, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Peter, you had something to finish there?
Tell us where you want us to go. We'll go.
Exactly. We'll be anywhere.
Yeah, it took us 3 tries to get to Vilzig, and we eventually had to do an away match. But we did it for Holland. Of course we did.
Give us suggestions. Yeah, anywhere you want us to go, we'll go. Guys. Yeah, we'll be there. But anyway, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time on Thursday for the predictions. So see you then, guys. Ciao, ciao.